Laura here, nice of you to join me, and a very warm welcome to my channel. It's lovely to have you here with me today. And in today's video, we are going to be working on and making up the big soft spined folio that I've done a walkthrough for on my channel. And up here in this little corner here, I will put a link that will take you to that walkthrough if you want to see it. And that way I don't have to go into too much detail here, but that's what we will be making today. Also, in the description box down below, there is the PDF cutting guide for this tutorial. So in the PDF guide, I've included your grey board measurements and your cardstock measurements. I did not include the pattern paper measurements. I thought that way you can measure up your pattern paper and then cut accordingly, because some of you might want to cut 1/8 of an inch and some of you might want to cut 1/4 of an inch. So that way you can then cut your pattern paper to suit your needs. So you will need 2 pieces of grey board, your 12 by 12 pattern paper. Now I'm using the Awakening pattern paper, and please do forgive me if I say this wrong, if I pronounce the name wrong. It is Piatek Tizinazago. I've had a go. I do apologise if it's wrong, but this paper is awesome. It is beautiful, really, really is. I've had it in my stash for a while, and it is just fantastic. It's what I call your white core pattern paper. It's not like your Stamperia or Graphic 45 where it's a bit more grungy, a bit more vintage. This is very clean and it's just beautiful. It just is a lovely, lovely paper. It really is. It's just got that beautiful white background running all the way through it, which is just lovely to use. So you will need your 12 by 12, as I say, and your cards, your grey board. Now this grey board is quite thin. It is your 1.5 millimeter grey board, so it is quite thin, but it is still quite robust for the folio that we're going to use. Using this weight of grey board means you can actually cut it with your standard paper trimmer. But what I will say is don't use a brand new blade when you're cutting your grey board. Have a blade spare that's an old one that you can use to cut your grey board with, because it will blunt your blade. So be warned, just use an old blade if you're cutting your grey board. So we'll need 2 pieces of that, as I say, and our pattern paper. You will also need some cardstock. Now, unfortunately, I did not count how many pieces of cardstock I used, because I used a lot of offcuts that I had laying around my studio. So I wasn't sure how many I used, but I've got a pack of 30 that I've got, and I don't think I'll use all the pack of 30, but that just means I've got enough to if I go wrong and things like that. So, and I'm using my black cardstock, but you can use whatever color you like. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really does help my channel grow. All the links to all my social medias will be in the description box down below, so please do check on click on those as well. But yeah, please don't forget to subscribe. As I say, it really does help me. You don't know how much. So let's get on with the show. So with your grey board, if you check your PDF, and it says that you need to cut 2 of these at 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. So you only need to cut one side because your A4 grey board is already 8 1/4. So it's just one cut at 8 1/4. So I'm not actually going to cut this because I've already cut mine. So, but what, oh, okay, I will cut it. So let's go. So we cut it through. You will need to just keep going a few times. Now, it won't cut it all the way through. You will have to just bend it, and hopefully the fibers will snap and it will break now, like so. Now, you will end up with a little bit of feathering on your grey board. If you can just see there, it's quite feathered. And you see, there we go, you can see a little bit more there, where it sort of just broke the outer layer of the grey board. Now, how I get around that is by just using a standard nail file, which I've got one here, and I'm just going to just file away all those sides. Now, you're not going to see this, but so it doesn't really matter, but I like to have a straighter edge on my albums, just in case there's a little bit of bobbling when we have to fold them over. Now, unfortunately, I've already film this part of the video, but my microphone died, so all of it just went out the window. So I'll do my best to show you what we need to do now. So once you've cut your two, you can put these to the side, and then you need to bring in your cardstock. Now, the cardstock needs to be cut at 10¼ by 10¼ to give you a nice square. And once you've done that, we can turn it over or find which side you're going to use, and you need to measure with your ruler 1 inch down one side and then 1 inch along the bottom. Once you've done that, you can then put your double-sided tape onto your grey board, lots of glue, and then you're going to stick it so that it marries up with the corner down here. So in actual fact, it's going to give you 1 inch border all the way around. So once you've done that, you need to then just trim off your corners. So you need to mitre all your corners. Now, I've got a very old mitering tool here, but Cool Cats Crafts, they do one. I just couldn't find my one from them in such short notice because I'm in the space of changing my craft room round. So moving my craft room. So I've got things everywhere. So all you need to do is we're just going to give it, I'm going to just draw a pencil line. Now, if you want to, because this one and the one from Cool Cats are stainless steel, you can use your craft knife and cut off the corners with a craft knife. But I haven't got my cutting mat down here, so I'm just using my pencil. So again, just all the way around. So once you've got your corners, I'm going to mitre them off. Now I'm going to go just below that pencil line. So my pencil line is cut off on my square. So it's just below, like so. And then come around. And the last one. So once you've done that, they can go in the bin because you don't need those. And then I'm going to just use my bone folder or Teflon tool, and I'm just going to use the tip just to score a line. So all I'm doing is stretching my paper fibers so that I can fold them over easier. Okay, so you're going to do this with both of your sheets. Now, as I say, I've done one already. I'll bring that one in. So I've done that one already, and that's what it looks like. This is what we're aiming to get to. So once we've done that, I always work on opposite sides first. So I will do this one, then this one, turn round, do this one and this one. Okay, so if you've got a rectangle, I would do the two longer sides first and then the two shorter sides. Okay, so it just for me, it just makes it look neater than if you go around each side in like clockwork order. I just think it makes it look nicer. So once you've done that, I'll turn around and work on number one first. I'm going to put my tape onto my pattern paper. Now, you don't have to do this. You can also put it, tape on your pattern paper here, and then tape onto your cardstock as well. Sorry, onto your grey board as well, like so. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use glue as well. So I'm just going to do that on one. So turn around, and I might as well, while I'm here, do that side. And then do these ones as well. And I'm not going to fold these, but then my tape is already on there ready while I've got it in hand. Like so. Now, shortly there will be a craft room tour, so I can show you what I've been working on the last couple of months, really. I've been quite busy, and my craft room is was upstairs in my spare bedroom. So I've actually now brought it downstairs, and trying to get 10 years worth of craft items from one part of the house to another is like running a marathon. I have to say, it is quite daunting, and if it's shown me something and also showing my daughter something, it's never ever ever put a craft room upstairs because it takes forever to bring it down again. So I mean, I'm joking. I loved it up there, but it's just funny the amount of time it's taking to bring it all down. So let me find my pokey tool. So I'm going to take off the double-sided tape. I'm just going to take off the backing, not the actual tape, like so. As I've burnished all my double-sided tape down, you can't see any air bubbles in that. So bring in my glue. Now I'm just going to put my glue, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm just going to add the glue just to the pattern paper. So what that's going to hopefully do is in years to come that will still be stuck. So once you've done that, as you've then already stretched the fibres from your bone folder when you've scored those lines in, it does make the paper easier to fold. So all I'm doing is just keep going through. I'm just going up and down so that I'm very carefully just easing that side over, and then eventually it will start to stick like so. Okay, and then I'm just going to burnish that down just to squidge out any of the glue, and then that way it's going to get right to the edges as well and help that stick. So you're going to do the same with your second side, and just squidge that glue. And I think my glue is a little thick. I've decanted some glue into this, and I think it might be a little thick for the bottle. Right, so let's push this over like so, doing the same thing. There we go. There we are. There we go. It's stuck, and then just squidge that down like so. Okay, then side 3. Take off your tape, add your glue, just really fold that over. Now, one thing I did forget to say to you is your corners here. Now, you can squish them down or you can push them in. So you just get your side and just push them corners so that they sort of fold in on themselves, and then just ease that down. There we go. I don't want any creases in my folded over pieces of paper. I want it to be as flat as possible. So turn it round and do the last side. Again, just push them in and squidge them down like so. So it gives you a nice corner. Add these in. Oh, there we go. It's now decided that it wants to come out. So let me just ease that over. And there we are. Push that over. There we go. Yeah. And then just burnish that down so it squidges all that glue right over to the edges as well. So you're going to do that on both of your pieces of grey board. So I've got mine already here. Now you need your pattern paper for this. Now you'll need to cut two pieces at the same time, and you need to cut them at 8 1/4 by 4 1/2. So I'm going to use, I'm going to go with the this page. Now I said I'm going to cut two together, but what I think I may do is just cut one and then cut the other side. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/2 first of all. So let's go with 4 1/2. Okay. And then take that off and then do 4 1/2 again. That way we're only using one sheet of paper. Okay, so that's your two pieces together. Now I'm going to put them together now while I'm doing the top. So I'm just going to cut this down to 8 1/4. Okay, so I've got my two pieces joined just on top of each other. Go with 8 1/4. Okay, and then put all your scraps to one side. So you've got then two pieces of paper, and we're going to back them one on top of the other and then score them. Okay, so we're going to back them first, but what I will do after I back them is I am going to just ink my edges on these. Now again, it's entirely up to you. You don't have to ink edges, but I do like the look that it gives. So I've just got some generic ink that I'm going to use. You could use distress ink, you could use archival. It's really, really up to you. You can use whatever colour you like as well. So I'm just going to add my glue. And again, lots of glue on this. Okay. And then I'm going to just add them together. Now this works just as well if you are going to, if you've only got pattern paper that's got a pattern image on one side, this works really good. But this also helps with giving your album a bit more stability and a bit more strength. So I'm just going to really, really burnish them together just to spread all that glue out that you've put on, like so. And again, if you want to, ink your edges. So, this is just brown ink that I have. So just inking the edges. Now I'm just inking the edges. I'm not going mad over them and giving that really big border. I'm just inking them just to get rid of that white core. So that's them done. So I've put them together. So bring in your scoreboard, and I'm going to use a scoreboard actually rather than my trimmer. So my scoreboard up, and you're going to score them at, so your score lines are at 1. Now because you've got 2 to go through, just keep going up and down all the time, just to give you, so you've got that groove. There we go. So at 1, at 1 1/4, now if you have some candle wax, it really does help. Let me just grab some here quickly. It really does help your tool just to glide over your paper. So I've just put a little bit on my tip here, just a tiny little bit. So then we're going to go with 1 1/2. So it's every 1/4 inch, like so. 1 3/4. And then we're going to go with 2. I think we're going all the way up until 3 1/2. Okay, so it's every 1/4 inch. So then it goes 2 1/4, then 3, then 2 1/2, then 2 3/4, then 3, then 3 1/4, and then 3 1/2. And then you may hopefully just see all them score lines there. Now the easiest way I find to bend your spine is to use the side of your desk, because we want to create a sort of arch rather than folding them. So I tend to just use my desk just to roll them round. That way you're creating that bend. Now I am going to bend just the end, the first and the last one. Just bend them over like so, because this is where our book is going to bend. So this one does need to be burnished down like so. I'm going to move that over like so, and do the same with this side. There we go. There we go. Turn that back around and do it the other side. So that's your first two done. Now, again, just use the edge of your table just to create the spined illusion. You just need to roll it over that way. You're going to get a nice rounded look like so. Now I'm just pushing down on that as we're rolling it round, and then you create that lovely arc. That's it, like so. You see, and then when our pages go on there, that will be nice and rounded. Okay, so next job is bring in your pages. Now you want the outside, so the roundest part needs to go obviously to the floor, and you're going to use your outside, so you're going to work with your best side downwards, okay, like so, because this here is going to fit on the inside of your grey board, and then we're going to cover that with our folio part. So we need some double-sided tape. I'm just making sure I'm going to have this the right way. So that will be my front, and then that will be my back, like so. Okay, so it will look like that. Now if you want to keep them together, then what I suggest you do is maybe use a bulldog clip or a binding clip just to clip them down. So again, just to be so that you know what we're doing, I've turned it up this way, and then because that's going to be the outside of our book. Okay, now our 1 inch gap inside is what is going to attach, but we've used it, so I've kind of done it that way so that you can see how it's going to go. Okay, so let's just move that around. So I've flipped it over, and I'm going to put my double-sided tape onto the right side of our spine. Now the tape is going to go as near to that scored folded edge as you can. Don't put it right on it, but put it near it. That way we are going to get a nice even stick all the way through. Again, so if you leave about a 1/8 of an inch gap between the rolled folded edge and your tape, that would be really good. Okay, burnish this down like so, and then I'm going to glue the rest of it, because that way it's going to help me be able to keep using the and working on our book as we go. So I'm going to put my glue on. It's now decided that, hey, it's going to work. I'm going to just smooth that glue out so that it's over the double-sided tape as well. Bring in my page, and I'm going to stick my page to the spine, not my spine to my page, if that makes sense. And then just burnish that down, so I can turn that over and then just burnish that down. Just move all that glue about. There we go, and it helps it now. And again to the next side. There we go. And put the glue on. Putting quite a bit of glue on because this is going to take a lot of welly. It's going to be opened and closed and things, so it does need quite a bit of glue. And I'm putting it all the way over that piece. So I'm making sure I've got them the way I want them. Just going to check just to make sure. So that's my outside. Make sure I've got it up the right way, so it goes that way. There we go. So let's just push this down. Okay, lining it up with the top and the bottom. That way we're going to end up with a nice even book. There we go, making sure that I'm where I should be. There we go. And then just stick it down. Okay, like so. Turn it over and just burnish those down. That's it. Okay, and then once you've got it there, you can just give it a little wiggle, and then you will find that your spine will start to form that nice rounded spine as you kind of use it, as you're going you're using the album. So that is the front back cover. Just checking I've got it. Yes, I have. I thought for a minute I had it up the wrong way. Okay, next on our list of things to do is going to be our cardstock folio flaps. Now, they are the mechanism or the heart of the album. So they're going to be these which we use to put all our flips and flaps on. So we need to cut them out first. Now these come in two parts, in a part A and a part B. So I'm going to cut two part A first and then two part B first. Now I cut them together because that way I make sure that the cardstock is exactly the same size and they're not just like tiny minute fractions out. So for this, so part A is going to be 8 inches by 9.5. So I'm going to cut the 8 inches first. So we'll get 8 inches. So that this tiny little bit you can throw away, but you can keep it if you are being a bit more paper savvy and you want little strips like that to cover where you've joined pattern paper together. So keep them if you do. So I've done the 8 inch by 9.5. So that is your part A. Now if you want to, you can just write on here part A, and it's 8 inches by 9.5. Okay, just so that you know what that is. So then again, get your two pieces of cardstock, put them together, and we're going to cut them together, and these are going to be cut at 8-inch square. Let's go with 8 inch. Again, save them if you want to. And then my second 8 inch. And then this piece you can keep because you might be able to use them for some flaps. So that's your part B. So part B, 8 inch by 8 inch. Okay, so bring in your part A. Now part A has got some score lines on. So it's telling me I need to now score at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to come and do 1/2 inch this way. And you're going to score. And then I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to score again at 1.5. Okay, like so. That should give me a 1-inch gusset. Okay, and it does. I hope you can see that. There's one score line and there's the other. Okay, so I'm going to just fold them over. So I've got them folded. Now I'm going to just work on one, and then we'll do the second in a minute. So you've got part A and you need one of part B, and part B is going to fit on this glue tab here. Now I'm going to fit my paper on top of my glue tab, but you may want to fit it so it's underneath. It's entirely up to you. Okay, but this is how I'm going to do it. So you need I'm going to just use glue on this rather than double-sided tape, so that I've got a bit of wiggle room. So, and then just ease that down like so, and then just push that in. There we go. And we're going to fit this onto that glue tab. Okay, lining it up. So I'm lining it up with the score line. If it just goes over the score line, that's why it's good if you use glue, because you can then you've got that bit of wiggle room time. I'm going to fold that over, and I've not put enough glue on, so let's just put a bit more glue on, give it a bit more time to stick. Okay, I'm going to turn it over and just burnish this side here. So that's one page. So if you go ahead and do the other, and when we come back, we will cut out the next part. Right, now we're going to move on to the 4 flapped page, and we're going to start with the top and bottom flaps. So they are going to measure 2 1/4 by 7 3/4. Now you're going to cut 4 of these. Now I've already cut mine out, so I'm just going to do one just to show you the score lines and things. So if you just cut your page, cut it at 7 3/4 by 2 1/4, and you're going to then score it with the 2 1/4 measurement down the side of your trimmer, and the really tall long measurement, which is the 7 3/4 along the top. So you score it at 1/2 and then again at 3/4. And then once you've done that, you need to do that with all of them. So I've already done mine here, so mine are ready. Okay, next we're going to cut the side flaps, and we're going to start with the acetate flap, and that is side flap A. You'll need to cut 2 of these at 6 3/4 by 6 1/2. So I'm going to cut 2 together. So 6 3/4, because I've not done mine yet. 6 3/4 by 6 1/2. Now I've just put myself a new blade in my trimmer, so hopefully I'll end up with some nice straight lines. So once you're left with your 2 pieces here, you're going to score one side. So you've got your 6 1/2 measurement down the side of your trimmer, and then the 6 3/4 along the top, and we're going to score that at 1/2 and again at 3/4. Okay, and then that gives you your 1/4 inch gusset. I need to give myself a 1 1/2 inch allowance on the right hand side of my flap. That's going to allow the tabbed magnet to actually close onto it, and then it won't interfere with the acetate window. So I'm just going to use my trimmer as my guide, and I've just drawn a pencil line just down that mark there. So I'm going to use this mark here now to then do my measurements for my window. And I've got a 3/4 of an inch allowance or frame for my window. So I'm going to start with this side, and this I'm going to come down and draw a line at 2 1/4. So my line is just one at the top and one at the bottom, like so. Now doing this is going to give you your corners of where we need to cut up to. So again, do this side. Oh. And then just keep going all the way around. Again. And then the last one at the bottom. And that's then your allowance for your window, because we're going to cut this part here off. So again, using your trimmer, I'm just going to line up my pencil lines with the middle, with the pencil lines on my in my gully, and I'm going to come all the way along. I'm just going to go up to this line here. I nearly went all the way across, and again lining those up and all the way down and all the way up, and then come around and then one more side, and then we're done. There we are. So you can then take this frame bit out. Now I will show you, I have actually gone over, so if you can see here, I've cut into my frame. So just to make that a little bit more sturdy, I am going to just put a tiny slither of my foundation tape on the inside, and then that will keep that nice and tight, like so, and then you won't see it because we'll have paper covering it as well. So you need to do that with your other page as well, but I am just going to rub out these pencil marks. Now I've left the line one because I'll need that as my guide for when I come to pattern piece that. Okay, next we need to do the side flap B, and we need to cut 2 of these at 4 inches by 6.5. Now again, I've already cut mine out, but you can maybe use some of your offcuts that you've got left over. So again, I'm just going to do one as a guide just to show you. And then you're going to score it along this 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch and 3/4. And again, you're going to do that with both flaps. The last thing that we need to do for the 4 flat page is cut out our acetate. Now I've gone ahead and cut mine already, and I've cut them at 4 1/8 by 6 1/4, and that's just going to give me enough room just to cover my window. Now I want to add it as near to this bottom edge as you can possibly get it, rather than at the top, because when we put our back on, we don't want to see any of the acetate, and because the backing is going to fit level with the bottom edge of your window flap. We don't want to see any of the acetate at the top. So just to put it into place, I'm just going to move that out of the way for a second because I don't need it just yet. So I'm going to add my double-sided tape around all 4 edges of my window. So let's just put this in. And I'm just going to go all the way around. Now what I've done is I've put my tape as near to that outer edge as possible. It's so that our acetate will stick and there won't be any gapping on it. So last one. So I'm just going to lift off the tape. And then we're just going to add this on. I'm going to work out which is which. So I'm just going to move it down a little bit, just so that it's at the top edge there. And then when you're happy, just burnish that down. Now you can add a little bit of your foundation tape just along that top edge, just to hide that edge. Now I may need to just cut this just slightly because it's a bit wide. Right, before you put the back on of the acetate window and you put your pattern paper, what you'll need to do is just put on here a, I can find what I've done with it. You just need to put on a magnet. So if you just bi-eye it, sort of a magnet, sort of in the middle there somewhere, tape it down and then carry on with your decorating and putting it together, because then what that's going to do is then when we come to add our tabbed element on the top, that's going to be able to just sit on like that. I'd actually forgot to do mine in the video, so this is just that an amendment to go in that. So just don't forget to, just before you do anything, put your magnet on, and then you can carry on decorating it and carrying on, and then that way when we come to put the pattern paper over the top, it'll be hidden. That looks better. So I'm going to add the edge, my straight edge at the top, and the ripped edge just along the bottom there. You can just about see it there. If I bring it up, now you won't see that because that will be hidden in the pocket, but it's just going to help you bring in and out your photo mat, and it's not going to get jarred or caught on that edge. Now you can go around all the edges if you want to, so I'm just going to do this one edge here. There we go. So that is your first one. So the next thing you're going to need is your backing. Now I've gone ahead and backed my acetate backing. So all I did was use a 12 by 12 piece of paper. I cut it by 6 inches. I cut it by 5.5 by 6, and then just backed it onto the backing, but I backed it on so that my glue strips were sticking up, and we're going to glue on the mountainside fold. So let me just miter these corners. So I'm going to leave the bottom ones but just mite at the top. So bring it out, make sure I've got it the right way. So let me grab my glue. So just put your glue onto that glue tab, and I am going to just smooth it out. Make sure you've got it the right way. That way, if you've got directional. And I am going to work from the edge. So I'm going to put this to as near to that edge as possible. Okay, and as near to the bottom edge here as possible, because we're going to use some of the foundation tape to close that part off. So just burnish that down so it's nice and stuck, and then put your glue on the other glue tab. And smooth that out, and then just push that in. Push it in and down, and then you'll get it stuck. So then just burnish that side down. If you want some added pressure, just use your Teflon tool. Like so. And then that is your backing. Now we've got the bottom here to do, and that is, I'm just going to use some of the foundation tape just to close that up. Start with a nice fresh edge as well, cut edge rather than a torn edge. And I'm just going to put it half on, half off. Okay, now I've cut a bit too much there, but don't worry, I will cut that off in just a second. So pull it over and down, and then push that over, and then you've just got this little bit here that you can just snip off. Now if it gets too much, you can lift it up and just miter that corner if you want to. If I can. Yeah, just add that across. So that then is your first one done. So now I'm not going to do the other one. I thought what I'll do is I'll finish this one, but then you'll go off and do the other. We've finished our page now. So what we're going to do now is add our pattern paper to our acetate window. So it's going to be 6.5 by 1 1/4. So this then is going to be 6.5. And that's going to just fit on that side there like that. Now I've still got this part here. Now this part we can cut down and use for parts of our frame for our window. So I'm actually just going to ink this edge, and again I'm not creating a distress. I'm just hiding that white core of the paper. So I'm going to stick that down. Now I'm using a 1/4 inch gap, but by all means you can go and do a smaller gap if you wish to. Okay, so that's that. So this here is going to be 5/8, so they're all 5/8, so this will be 5/8 by 6.5. And then you've got then these 2 pieces that you've cut off, which are going to be for the top. So this is going to measure, so you're going to measure the whole width. So that's going to be 4 1/8 once and 4 1/8 twice. Okay, so we've got our pieces then ready to cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work around. So I'm going to start with this side, and I'm just going to cut this top piece off. So I've just marked where the side of this piece of paper comes down. If I hold that up hopefully you'll see my pencil mark is just there. So I'm going to then just cut from that pencil mark to the corner. And I'm just going to cut this one, so it's from that pencil mark to the corner of that piece of paper. So that gives me my first mitre. So then we move round, and I'm going to do the same on this side. Just line them all up so that everything is in is like a soft set. So you set it, and then put your next pencil mark down and line it up with the corner and then trim off. So that's those two. So now we can work on the bottom bit, and then again exactly the same principle. You're going to mark the corner. I'm going to mark the corner of this one, so I'm going to cut from your pencil mark into that corner, and then from that pencil mark into that corner. So then that is your frame done. So we're just going to add our ink. Okay, so let's get these into place now. So I'm going to do the long side first. Okay, and then this next one. I'm just going to make sure I've got some glue on those little points. And then you just need to match them up like so. Oh. Hoping I've got them in there. Yes, I do. Have them in the right order, I think. Yep. And then this next one goes on. And then that is that page done. Apart from doing our photo mat that goes in there. Okay, so we are working in our double paged flap that we made earlier, and we are going to put together the window framed flap, the 4 flapped page. We're going to actually construct it now onto our flap. So I have it so that the join, so where you've joined the 2 papers together, that's going to go into our book. So it's going to sit on our book. So if I bring the book in, it's going to sit like this. So that goes that way. So the join is hidden underneath, so you won't be able to see it. So I'm going to work with my flap like that, and I've got my pieces here. Now we've already cut out our bits and we've decorated that, so I put them all in here so that they were nice and safe. So we've got two, a top and a bottom, one side and then the flapped side, which is going to go like that. Now, as I said earlier, I'd forgotten to put my magnets on, but hopefully you would have seen my little error, and I've attached your magnets before you've covered it. Now this one doesn't matter so much because all we're going to do is put the tab on top, but we'll go through that as we put it together. So I'm going to start with the top. Now I am going to mitre the glue tab edges just on the corners there, and I will use just a little bit of double-sided tape because it sticks quicker, and I'll also put some tape, some glue on there as well, just so that it helps me a bit of wiggle time. So burnish that down, take that off. Now it is just a bit too big. I'm just pushing that over. So find the glue. Ooh. And I'm just going to put the glue on top of the tape, and then I'm going to just by eye it. So I want it so that it's a bit, so it's in the middle of your page and about 1/8 of an inch from the top. So I don't know if you can see that, just about there. You can. So that's my top, and it's about 1/8 of an inch below that edge. So push that down like so. Now the other thing I haven't done on these, which I should have done, is round my corners, and hopefully, yes, that gives me just enough space to be able to do it. So I'll do the bottom one now while I think of it. So again, just miter that corner, put a little bit of tape on. Maybe don't need to do all of it, just a tiny bit, just so that you've got that initial stick. Take that off and put my glue on. And then again, do the same thing. Try and by eye it so that it's level, and about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom edge there. I think that's about right. Move it over just a tiny bit. There we go. And then once you're happy, just burnish that down. There we go. There we are. So that's then the top and the bottom. Next, I'm going to put my window flap on. Now, how I'm going to get that is I'm going to put my tape on again. Just miter that those two corners, and put a tiny bit of double-sided tape on, like so. Take the backing off. There we go. Glue. This is onto the mountainside fold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my top and my bottom flaps down, and this flap, I'm going to use them as a guide of where it's going to go. So push that up a little bit. When you're happy, just burnish that down. I want it sitting so that it's over those flaps, but it's quite tight up to the edge here. There we go. So next we bring in off our other side. Now this is going to be the same. You're going to use the top and the bottom flap as a guide. Again, just put a tiny bit of tape on, like so. Push that out of this tape. There we go. Again, use that top and bottom as a little guide, and then this is going to go, because it's slightly smaller than the flap, the other flap. Just try and not stick it to the flaps, like I very nearly did. I'm going to push it up, push it over, there we go. Oh, push it down when you're happy it's in the right place. Yeah, it just needs to. So that's then your flaps done. So to put your tab on, which your magnet is going to go on, now what you would have done is you would have put your magnet in the middle here somewhere, possibly around about this mark here. So, or before you pattern yours, then put your magnets on, and that way you'll be able to get it in the exact same place. So I'm going to bring that out to about there, and then my magnet is going to go in there. So I'm going to just add some glue, and I'll put my 2 magnets in now. Now I'm just using 2 because these are smaller magnets than what I normally use, and also they haven't got anything to stick to yet, so just put that on like that. So next, how I'm going to do that now, if you ever forget to do this in the future, is I'm just going to use my foundation tape and get 2 more magnets, or 1 magnet, and push this over, and I'm just going to put the magnets on top of the sticky tape that's sticky side up, like so. Oops. Eventually, she says. Nope, they've stuck. Okay, so I'm going to just push that over and just softly stick that down. Okay, then I'm going to turn it over and put 2 more this side, like so, and then I can then put my foundation tape over the top of those, and then that should close that down. But I'm going to take these ones off because we don't want these ones left on there, so just pull them off so they don't fall back on themselves like they did before. Then you can add just 2 underneath, and then that should hold that quite firmly in place, like so. So it can be done if you forget to put your magnets on, but it's so much easier if you've got them on before you pattern paper. But hopefully we won't do that on this next one. So that's that page. So we're going to go on to the other side now of our folio, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so the other part of our folio is our flip-flap book that's hidden behind the A flap. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to do our flip-flap book, that's here, and we'll also put a photo mat in our pocket as well. So this is the other side that I have done. So this is our other flap. I thought I'd go ahead and do that, and then we can see where we're going with it. So let's get on to the measurements for this. I'll just bring in my trimmer, and working on the PDF, we're now going to work on the part that says other side of the inner flap. So the top flap, you will need to cut 2, but I've already cut 1, so I'm only going to cut 1 for this. So you'll need to cut 2 at 6 inches by 7 3/4. So, and again, you can cut 2. So cut 2 together, and then that way it's half the work. So that by 6. And then looking at the diagram 6, it shows you where you need to score. This is going to be at 1/2 inch and at 3/4. So and 1 inch. That's going to give us a 1/2 inch gusset, which is then in tail going to allow for our flip flap book. So that's the top flap, so we can put that on there. Top flap, and it's 6 inches by 7 3/4. And I think if I measure this correctly, it should give us a 5 inch deep flap. So when we come to pattern piece, this would be 4 3/4 by 7 1/2. I might as well write that on there now where I think of it. So I'm just going to round the corners while I think of it. Like so. So that's that one part done. So the next bit that we have to do is the pocket. Now again, you need to cut 2, but I am only going to do 1 because I've done 1 already. So the pocket is 4 inches by 8 3/4. And once you've done that, you're going to score them at 1/2 inch all on 3 sides. So it'd be 1 long side and the 2 short sides. Okay, and that's going to create my pocket. So I'll fold those down, and I'm just going to put pocket. Okay, so next is the flip flap book. Now we're going to do the top flap first, and we need to cut 2 of these. Now the reason why the top flap, which is the first page, and then the flip flap book page 2, is because the first page is slightly smaller than the rest of the flip flap book, and then that allows for the tab and the magnet to hold it in place. So I'm going to just see if I've got enough here. So the first page is 4 1/4. Oh yeah, I've got enough here. 4 1/4 by 7 3/4. So that's going to be scored at 1/2 and 3/4. Okay, and then that's the top page. So first page I'm going to put. So going on to the flap book, which is page 2, we need to cut this at 8 1/2 by 4 1/4. So 8 1/2 by 4 1/4, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch, and we've got the long measurement down the side of our trimmer, and we're going to score along that short edge at 1/2 and 3/4. Okay, so that is my second page. So going on to the pages 3 and 4, these you need to cut 4 of, okay? but again I'm only going to cut 2 because I've done mine already. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces together, and I'm going to cut these at 8 3/8 by 4 1/4 again, and these are going to be scored at 1/2 inch and 5/8. Okay, because these ones have only got a 1/8 inch gap. So this is page 3, and again you're going to do the same with the second one. So score it at 1/2 and at 5/8 again. So that then is our page 4. So that's all our elements done. Just checking. Yes, it is. So let's bring in our folio flaps, and we can start to construct now. So I'm going to start with putting the pocket on first. So we're going to miter these corners. Now I'm going to just miter the corner up to where those 2 score lines meet. I don't know if you can see there where I've mitered that off, and just the top 2 glue tabs, I'm just going to miter them corners as well. You can see there and there. So fold them over and burnish down, get that nice crisp crease. Okay, now again I'm just going to put a tiny bit of double-sided tape just to help with the stick. Now I need to get some smaller because this is rather large. I don't know. Okay, I'm just putting a tiny bit on, as I say, just to help with that initial stick right at the moment, so I can carry on working. Okay, burnish them down. And I'm going to start with the bottom one. Okay, and then just work all the way round. Like so. Like so. And then add our glue. So glue on the bottom, glue up the sides, and there. Okay, but I'm going to stick the bottom bit down first. So again, just by eye it, I just want it to be about 1/8 inch just above the page. Then fold your flaps in, and then you can fold them down like so. Might need to come over just a tiny bit. So that's then the pocket. So next is going to be the top flap. Now that's going to go on, and again miter your corners. Now you do end up with loads of little cornery pieces all over. They stick to everything. So add your little bit of tape. Just ended up going just above my score line there. I'm just pushing that down. There it is, just so that I can't see it. Add your glue. And I'm just turn it round so I can see what I'm doing. So again, I just want 1/8 inch gap at the top. There we go. And when you're happy, oops, just burnish that down. There we go. Now I've lined it up as well with the bottom of my pocket so that it all marries up. So make sure that's nice and firmly down. So the next thing we have to do is I'm going to put my magnet on. Now what I did on my other ones is I put a circle and an M so that I know that that's my magnet. Which is a good practice to get into, and I wish I could practice what I preach because I always forget. So again, for your magnets, I'm just going to add glue. Now because my magnets are small, I'm adding 2. If you've got bigger magnets, then you won't need them. So I'm just putting 2 next to each other like so, and I'm putting them near to the fold, to that score line. There we go. And the magnets are going to go so they're facing the bottom, so they're actually on this part of your book, because I want them to be as near to the part that they're going to keep closed. Then it's got less paper and cardstock to go through. So I've just married it up just so that it's nice and straight, like so. Push them down. So that's your 2 magnets there. So another 2 and some foundation tape. I'm just going to stick that on the top there. And push, oh, there we go. Just get them so they're nice and straight. I might turn that round actually. One, 2. So just get it so that it's nice and in the position that you want it. There we go. So that's then my 2 magnets, and then we can then cover those to our heart's content. Now they're all done. So next we need to put our flip flap book. Now we're going to start with the top 2. Yes, we're going to start with the top 2 because we're going to put the rest on top of it. So we want the second page. I think we want page 4, page 3. Have I lost it? I did write. I know I had it here. There it is, first page there. So this is the first page. So I'm going to put my first page on my left hand side so that my magnetic closure is on the right. So again, you're going to just mitre them corners like so. I'm not going to add some tape on this. I'm going to wing it and go with the glue like so, and then we're going to line it up with the top of our pocket and the side of our top flap there. And we're just going to push that down. I wish you can see I've got a little tiny head that keeps poking out, that just really wants to get in on the action. I don't know if you've seen the little nose there. No, no, no. No. You want to help? You want to push that down? Yeah? Right, no, sit down there now. Sit down. Good girl. Right, so I'm going to push that down. like so. Then we're going to come in with page 2, and that's also the page that's got the 1/4 inch gusset on it. So I've just chopped those corners off again. Just add my glue. I'm just smoothing it out. Now on the ones in my on the other side, I did round the corners. I'm not going to on this one so that you can see what they both look like, but then you can make your own choice. Now I'm lining it up so that it is level with the page on top, and it is not going over these 2 score lines on this side, and that's fine, like so. That's it. Okay, so the next we're going to do is our third and fourth page, which is the last 2 pages. And again, just mitering those corners, adding our glue, and we're going to line this up with the score line that's already there. So you've got 2 score lines on this one, but it's the bottom one. The one nearest the base page is where you're going to line up your next sheet from. Okay. And then the last page, which is page 4, and again miter those corners and glue. Okay. And then again just line it up with that bottom score line, line it up with the page underneath. Now if it is slightly bigger, all you need to do is just take off about 1/8 of an inch. It might be that I've just not cut enough off. I've got one of those triangle pieces on my book. The mitered corners, right, so that's better. Okay, so let's stick that down. Like so. Now if you want to as well, you can just clean up the bulk of this with your foundation tape, and it just helps. You've then got a smoother surface, and it also keeps them stuck down. I'm gonna come and there we go. I'm just going to chop that little bit off there because that's too much. And then it gives you a nice finish to it. Again, you don't have to do this. I think it just adds, just keeps everything tidy. There we go. Push that down. And then when you come to cut, pattern piece over it, you maybe not get the bulk there. So again, you can concertina them like so, but before we now need to before we need to cover, we just need to add our last magnets. So again, I'm just using my tab set. Now this is from the Put It On Your Tab die set, and it's really useful. I use this die particularly nearly all the time. So I am going to just put one on here. I think I'm going to try one because it's covered. It's all closed off with the magnets on top. This is just to keep it closed firmly, so I only need one really on this one. So that's my magnet in there. Okay, double-sided tape. Not double-sided, foundation tape. Might be a bit big, this one, but it'll do. There we go. Push that over. There we go. And then that's your closure done there, like so. And then you close that up. And then that page is done. So then you can go away and decorate that now. That's finished. But what we are going to do is we're now going to attach it all into our book. So to attach it to our book, we need our 2 pages, and we're going to work, just making sure I've got them the right way, like so, and then this one, like so. Okay, so what you need to do now before you attach, we need to put our ribbon in to so that it's closed, so that you can use it as a closure. So I've just got some pink ribbon here. I thought this would be quite nice. I've got 2 sets here, so I'm going to put 2 lots on. I'm going to cut this in half, but I'm going to use a better pair of scissors. Okay, so that's one side. Now this is going to be far too long, but we can make it smaller or bigger. So I'm going to just measure possibly about halfway, just about there. So I'm just going to measure my line there, and then just bring that round and do the same, just so that they marry up. So I'm going to start with this side, and I'm going to use the tape, and that's the only thing with these little when you miter your corners, it tends to just gravitate to your tape, to your double-sided tape, and then it ends up getting stuck, and then you end up having to take lots of bits off. Okay. So I'm just going to put some along here for the moment, and then see if I can find a pokey tool. Okay, one. And stick that on that side. There we go. And then I can just put a bit of glue on that, I think. And then, because you're not going to see that, it's going to be covered. So that's your one page. Now I will just add a tiny little bit more tape just on that edge there. Now also what you can do is cover that with your tape, your foundation tape as well. I think what I may do, there we go, is just take it just to there. Just don't forget this has got to be opened and closed and opened and closed, so that will keep that nice and firm and not move. So that's your one part done. So the next bit, again, let's do the first. Let's do this bit first. so then that's those. So taking off the backing tape of the double-sided that you've put down, we're going to then put lots and lots of glue. So I'm going to do one side first. So remember just to double check, first of all, that you've got your hook up the right way, and secondly, which goes where. So that's for that side. So we're doing this side here, and it goes like that. So you do it where your spine part of your folio is facing outwards. So again, lots of glue on this because this has got to really stick down. There we are. Just put a bit of glue over that. Okay, so let's get it in place. Now I've got possibly about 1/4 of an inch around here to play with. So when you're happy, this will just come down a bit. Okay. Once you're happy, I might do it that way, probably be able to see then a little bit better. There, that's about right. So you'll just have to really burnish this bit down. Okay, so that's your one side done. So the next is this one, and in exactly the same fashion, just take off those backing strips and lots of glue. Just make sure you get it the right way round first. That goes that way. So that's my down bit, and again lots of glue. Yes, that's my down bit. So let me just turn it round so it's facing me, so I can just get my by eye measurements done. So up a little bit. There. And then when you close it up, that then becomes your closure. But before we do that, and while I just think of it, I am going to put 2 magnets on either side here. So let me get some double-sided tape. So one there. One there. One here. I'm going to just use some foundation tape. It's easier than using double-sided, I think. And then one there. So upside down. There's one. And 2. So make sure that they're nice and level and in line. So that's those. So then you can just cover this with pattern paper and then decorate however. But again, I'm also going to make these a little bit shorter, but like so. And then that's the side of your folio. Now you could also add in the side here, you put maybe put a an eyelet and then have a book dangle coming down as well, which would also jazz it up. But you can then decorate the front with some words and things like that, which I will do, but I'm not going to do that on camera. But I will do it, and then maybe put a walkthrough of this one on and show the difference in the two different books. So thanks ever so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed my soft spined folio. I've really enjoyed making them. They are really fun to make, quick and easy as well, which is really good, and just a different way to make albums. Thanks again for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and comment. It really does help my channel grow. And hit that notification bell as well. All that means is every time I upload new content, you will be one of the first people to know. Don't forget to come and follow me on all the social medias. All the links are in the description box down below. But until the next time, I will see you soon. Bye! Don't forget to check out the bloopers at the end of the video. Have you come to say hello? Have you? Have you come to say hello? You getting up? You jump? There she goes. You're saying hello, but you can't stay there. No, you can't. I've got too much work to do. Yes, I have. You got a little waggy tail, have you? Put this down. I am. There, right. Come on. Come on, because I'm supposed to be doing the memory book. Yes, come on. There we go. I can't hold you though. Come on. Down there. There we go. Right, sorry about that.